And welcome back to the Behind the Mic podcast. It is your boy, Jumpman Jay. So welcome to the new set. We got a whole new revamped version of what Behind the Mic is. We wanted to take it to the next level media-wise, so we linked up with Soyo Creative in Yonkers, New York. We'll put the link in the bio so we can get you guys tapped in. We're trying to take media to the next level here, so I got a guest today that I'm good friends with. I haven't seen him in a while. I keep running, across him on like Instagram, and we've been saying for years that we needed to link up. My boy has a crazy story on his journey as a law enforcement officer. So for those of you who don't know it, but if you're tapped into the podcast, you should know that I'm a first responder. I have been a first responder for 18 years. And I met this man during like the early part of my career. We used to work out together. Shout out to my boy Anthony Barberan for coming out tonight. Appreciate you, my brother.
I like that, man. Appreciate it.
So for those of you who don't know who Ant is, I'm gonna have Ant give like his little backdrop. So I usually like to start with like where you grew up, like where you went to school, things like that. So let's just start there, and then we'll push forward from there.
Yeah. So I grew up in Yonkers, New York. Shout out to Yonkers. I went to Catholic school.
Okay.
Went to St. Bart's and went to Sacred Heart.
Sacred Heart, yeah. I grew up around the corner from Sacred Heart.
Yeah. All my friends, they went to Gorton, they went to Lincoln, Saunders, everything like that. So I had a mix.
Okay.
I had a mix of everything.
That's what's up.
Yeah. So,
You playing the sports or?
Yeah, I played some soccer. Went to Welty Park, played some basketball on the court.
Welty Park, bro. Yeah, shout out to Welty. I used to hang out at Welty too. So we just went visual, right? We were doing only like audio on the podcast. So like if you look at Ant, right? Ant looks like a straight up white man. But for those of you who don't know, Ant is half Ecuadorian.
Yeah.
And he and I kind of share the same thing because like we're both Hispanic, but if you look at us, right, we don't look Hispanic, right? We don't look like the typical Hispanic, you know what I'm saying? Like if I don't got, I don't want to say like a certain type of dress on or, because like people will be like, oh, well, Puerto Ricans dress like this or like Dominicans dress like this. Well, I'm Honduran, he's Ecuadorian, what are we supposed to dress like? You know what I'm saying? So I think culturally that might have been like a thing for you growing up, right? Like,
Yeah, everybody, Italian, Ecuadorian, it's like, we look more Italian than a white guy, blue eyes, blonde hair.
Yeah.
You ain't Spanish.
Yeah. So like growing up, was it more like the Ecuadorian side? Was it like a good split? Was it like mainly Italian or like what was the mix like?
It was a good split. So, what I'm saying, my parents was divorced, but I lived with my mom, so I had the Italian food all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But then I would go with my dad and I would go to my grandmother's house and it was just straight Ecuadorian food, you know what I'm saying? Like, she was the best. She'd always cook me some chicken, some rice. She'd always have it ready for me,
Okay.
some steak, soups, everything like that. But it was a good mix, you know what I'm saying? And the crazy part is too, my cousin looks, if you saw me and my cousin, you would think we were brother and sister because she's the same way.
Yeah.
White, blue eyes, blonde hair. Doesn't look thing like an Ecuadorian would look.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So like people don't understand like culturally there's different looks, man. I just feel like there's stigmas with culture and you're supposed to look a specific way. I've dealt with that my entire life. Like I wasn't like black enough to hang out with the black kids, but I wasn't Spanish enough to hang out with the Spanish kids.
Yeah.
So I was always like in the mix, kind of just bouncing around, like I have friends from all walks of life. And honestly, like being from Yonkers, that's what it's all about. Like anybody I know that grew up in Yonkers pretty much has that same like melting pot kind of mentality. Because I remember like the kids from Central would come hang out with us, on the north side, and then like the south side kids would come and hang out, with the Central dudes. Like everybody, I truly call Yonkers the melting pot because everything is here. You have Arab, you have Portuguese, Italian, Irish, Spanish, you name it, it is here, So growing up in Yonkers really put me in a space, because I came to Yonkers when I was like 13. I was in the Bronx before that. And not saying I didn't live in like a culturally diverse place in the Bronx, but I feel like Yonkers is where like we all kind of molded together because we all went to school together. We all had that common bond.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it wasn't for me, like, you know, even though I went to a Catholic school, it wasn't like, oh man, it's just all white kids in the Catholic school.
Yeah.
It was, like you said, there was black kids, there was Portuguese kids, there was Spanish kids, you know, and then going to Sacred Heart. It's like, I call it the Catholic public school.
Yes. Yeah. Co-ed too. So
Yeah, everyone in that. So, you know, you mixed in. Like, there wasn't like, oh, you're Spanish, you can't sit here. You're white, you can't sit here. It was just, you just chilled with everybody.
Yeah.
That's how it was. I didn't look at anything like that. That wasn't the view on anything.
Yeah, I never had that, you know, like growing up. I always felt like there was no divisiveness at that time, you know what I mean? Like I felt like everybody was just, everybody went to everybody's house.
Exactly.
It was what it was. You hung out, everybody was collectively together, and there were no issues. So you went to Sacred Heart High School, and then you graduated. You go to college?
I went to WCC for like a semester or so, and then I wound up going to Lincoln Tech for auto mechanics and diagnostic as a technician.
Okay.
Like cars, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've always been into that. So I went there and, you know, I did a year there, graduated, got a job working up in Mayapack, I think it was called like Car Clinic at the time. Nice guy. And the owner was a real great guy, knowledgeable guy, worked for Dodge, did like aftermarket stuff with jobs. Just a great guy, gave me an opportunity to really work. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, look, the whole business wasn't making that much. Traveling up there wasn't, you know, easy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I started doing, you know, security, let's do landscaping on the side.
Just trying to make ends meet.
Trying to do what I was doing.
Hustling. I get it.
You know? But my main goal was always, I wanted to be a cop. Like, that's just what it was. Like, I wanted to be a cop from when I was younger. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I knew a bunch of Yonkers cops from my family. And my grandmother worked for the city. She was a librarian for the city. So I was always around, you know, someone that worked for the city in some way and everything like that. And then, you know, I saw, we had a tenant. I saw my tenant get mugged.
Okay.
When I was a kid. And then, you know, I saw the cops come in and, you know, help her and all that stuff. And it's like, it's just something that just embedded in my mind.
Yeah, I think it clicked for you right there.
It's like, always do right by whoever, no matter what. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was my goal. And, you know, ultimately I did get that goal.
So at what age did you become a police officer?
I think I was 20, 22.
All right, so you're the same age as me when I started. I was like 22. I turned 23 when I was like in the academy. I was right at 22.
I think that's what it was with me. Yeah. I was 22 and then 23 as I was getting out of the academy.
Yeah. When I was in there, I was like halfway through when I turned 23. So you took, like, what was that, like what was that journey? Did you just take like towns and villages and then, or did you take the test specifically for that town?
No, so it was I didn't know how to go about it. I knew for Yonkers, you take the Yonkers test.
Yeah.
Right? So I took the Mount Vernon test because Yonkers wasn't given yet. So I took the Mount Vernon test, and as I was taking that, they said, "Yo, sign up for the towns and villages." Figure out what was, you know, I was living in the town at the time. I had just moved out of Yonkers.
Okay.
So I said, all right, my stepfather was a fireman in Eastchester.
Okay.
So he was like, yeah, I'll figure it out. This is the test you have to take. So I studied, took the test, scored a great score on both. And ultimately, I mean, you know, Eastchester called me and I went.
First come, first serve types.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I waited like 3 years because I was only like, I think I was 18 at the time I took the test. So
Okay.
I think 19, I waited 20 and then 21, they had been like, yo, listen, we're looking to get you on. You know what I'm saying? Come in for the final interview, you know, we like you, want to send you for the agility test and everything like that. And I know you were helping a lot with that, with officers with that, which is great. So I went with another guy and like, I'll never forget that, man. We went for the interview and, you know, come in a suit, professional.
Yeah.
Just coming in polos. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, because half the dudes they own suits. Yeah. You know that, man. Motherfuckers don't get suits until they need to get suits, or the suit that they have is from their confirmation or you know, something like that, you know.
Yeah. But I think like the thing that stood out too was I wasn't from the town. Like, they didn't know me. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to put a face to the name. And so I got through all the interviews, got through the process with them. And I remember one kid was just like, he looked at me, he said, "Oh, did you take the new test? You taking the new test?" I said, "No." I said, "Why?" I said, "Because I'm getting this job." I just put it out there, like, I'm getting it. This is my thing. I'm doing it. And, I went to the agility test, first one up, banged it out.
Knocked it out, yep.
Got back to headquarters. Here you go, I finished. I'm all good. And the next thing you know, I passed out. I was tired. I get a phone call from the lieutenant. He's like, "Just so you know, you and this other guy, out of 10, you and him are the only one that passed. We were going to wait till Monday to make our decision, but you were the only two that passed." So,
so boom, yeah.
It's like, oh, this is awesome. It's happening. You know what I'm saying? And, from that point, it was just, it was great. My family was so motivated for it. They were so happy. This is something I wanted to do. This is something that was, professional. It was something that, just shows pride and it was just a good feeling, and then sure enough, man, everything was good. I went into the academy. I met great people in the academy, people I'm still friends with now.
What year did you go to the academy?
I was in 2012.
2012, okay, cool.
I was 134.
Okay.
That's the one I was in.
Session 134, all right, yeah.
So I met, a lot of good people. My academy class was big. We had like 50, 60 people in.
Yeah, it's a big academy class for Westchester, yeah.
But, as you come out, you're ready for it. They teach you that you never die, never leave your guy alone, always be by your guy's side. It's you guys against the world, type of stuff. And then, you believe that, and it's all hyped, and everyone comes in and tells you got to be this way and be that way, and you're held to the higher standard and everything like that. So, I came out, I was ready for it. When I came out, again, they didn't know me. So I'm just meeting these people, as I'm going into, my locker and, meeting the new detective.
Yeah, because it's like a small town. I feel like if you got to be like born and raised there, and then they kind of know like the family and the bloodline, so they know like who you are and what you're about. So you're like this new guy they don't really know nothing about, so they kind of just feeling you out, trying to figure out who you really are.
Exactly. And that's, that's a big problem too, because like I know the towns and villages have opened up the list to everyone now.
Yeah.
It's just that keeps it to themselves, and there's a reason for that. You know what I'm saying? They keep it for a reason for that. But, anyway, I went in, I did my thing, I met people, I was getting along with people, you know what I'm saying? The detective at the time, who was a lieutenant now, was using me in narcotics. Like my first ever day really on the job, I came in a leather jacket, jeans, a tee, and he was like, "You got your duty weapon?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You got an off duty?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right, take your off duty." I put it in my back, and it's like, "What are we doing?" It's like, "We're gonna go out there and try to get some drugs." I'm like,
"Oh shit, okay,
all right."
So thrown right, baptism by fire, thrown right into it.
So the first call I ever went on was a guy that was ODing, and I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, "What's going on here?" Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's how like my training went. Like I went a lot with that, and then I did some field training, and I went back, and then it was field training, and went back, and it was field training. So like, in the academy, you're supposed to have like 20 sheets, but like out of the 20, it's supposed to be like 100, let's say.
Yeah.
I had exactly 20. Like that's all I had. The other guy had more, but I had that, you know what I'm saying? And that's just how it went. But, like I said, you come out, you piss and vinegar, you're ready to go, you're ready to rock and roll, ready to do all this stuff. And then, I didn't really listen to my field training officers in the sense of like what they were telling me as what was expected. You know what I'm saying? Like I was ready to go out, make arrests. I was ready to get the bad guy. I was ready for all that. But what they was
in most cases we are, yeah.
Right. And in those times, it's like what they were telling me is just make sure at the end of the month you got like 10 to 12 tickets, VTL, and then make sure you got a couple parking tickets, and don't really look for drugs. You know what I'm saying? Because like they don't really want you to look for that. Like if you come upon it, okay, but like you don't really want you to look for it. You know? It's like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. You know what I mean? But then as the years started going, I started noticing that was a trend. Like that's what it was. And I'm the type of guy like I get out, I go to the corner bodega in East Chester. I start talking to all the Spanish guys in the bodega over there, cook me some breakfast. I'm talking to them. They give me a little insight, like something's going down over here. We've seen something.
Yeah, intel.
You know what I mean? Like I get out and talk to them. And some of my older soldiers would tell me the same thing. Like, get out, like, go talk.
Yeah.
And that's what I would do. And then, this one lieutenant became in charge of the patrol division. And that was it, man. There was no undercover work no more. There was no, other units to get into. It was, no, you're not writing your tickets. And I was like, well, what's the number you want me to hit? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's going on? And there was never anything. So I go out and do my thing. And then it was the harping. You're not wearing your hat. You are wearing this and wearing that. It's like, well, wait a minute, man. Like, you're watching my in-car video because that in-car video.
Shit, didn't know that.
Yeah. You're watching my in-car video and you're looking at my hat. You're not looking at the stop that I made with the people that I'm with. You're just looking at I'm not wearing my hat and then telling me I'm no good because of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it started to be like some animosity.
So they wanted you to have your hat on while you're in the vehicle?
Yeah.
At all times or something like that?
They basically wanted you to make a car stop, make sure your hat was on. And listen, you could do it, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes you get that vehicle that's occupied by 2 or 3.
Yeah.
That you're not thinking about that. You're thinking about your safety and officer safety and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe you stopped and your bag went forward and your hat fell. You're not looking to go down and get it. You look.
Yeah. Because you're in the moment and you're not really thinking about that. And honestly, if that shit's in the back of my mind, officer safety is out the window at that point because I'm too concerned about a fucking hat or,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to be worried about how many people are in this car, what's the stop for, there could potentially be guns or drugs in this car. Like, so I'm more worried about, officer safety.
Exactly.
I hear you.
And that's what it was. And, he was coming down and it wasn't, that point, it wasn't just me. He was coming down on others too, he was coming down on other people for not writing tickets and that. And like, it got crazy because he actually made a chart that was color-coded and sent out emails to sergeants and was like, yo, if they're not meeting their standards, you know what I'm saying, we're going to highlight them and we got to get them up on that. So you compare officers to officers. So what's crazy about that is that gentleman from the city, the lieutenant who retired and has been speaking out about it, he was a part of the NYPD 12. And that's what was happening to them. And when that came out, that was posted all over the squad. It was posted everywhere, like, NYPD $1 million lawsuit like that. And we're all looking at like, this is just going on here. And he was getting mad. So he was trying to investigate who was putting these things up. And then those charts went away. And then there was like other stuff that was coming out, like to just verify people were writing tickets. And it got worse and worse, man. It was like, I'm saying, from 10 tickets to 12 tickets to 15 vehicle and traffic tickets. Now you compare it, like, I'm saying, at the end of the month, you got 15 tickets, you work 19 days, that's, whatever. Parking tickets, add on to that. Nah, they was doing it separately. So you have to come in with like 15 to 20 VTL and like 20 to 40 parking tickets. So it's like, where's all this money going? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're generating revenue for this town.
Exactly. And it's like, what's going on here? And then you see the people who are generating the most money will be put in the traffic division on more cars, different schedules. You know what I'm saying? And it gets crazier because then you have my chief, whose son came on the job, who I think he's a great kid.
Yeah.
I never had beef with him, nothing like that. I think he's a good dude, like solid guy. But did he get treated differently? Yeah, bro. He got a schedule that was crazy. My man had Sundays come in at 10 o'clock. Unless you had to go do something, you could come in earlier and then leave and whatever.
That's wild.
That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, you got animosity between the union. You got animosity between that. You got animosity between the ticket quotas that was going on there and where this revenue generation is coming from. And then the dudes that are writing more tickets are getting more stuff on their resumes, more classes, more this, more that. And every time we'd hire new people, they'd want to leave. They'd transfer out. So every time a person transferred out, all of a sudden, bicycle unit came back. Oh, we got new BDU pants. Oh, we can get this now. We can get, it's like, keep you here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's just the soft part of it. The crazier part is when you start really diving into seeing what's going on. Like, I mean, it's crazy, bro. Like, you got guys who, and I'll say alleged, I know it's not, but I'll say alleged, took $100,000 from our unit. This guy was a detective sergeant. You know what I'm saying? Not only that, he's changing boats. Narcotics is going missing.
And so let me ask you a question. There was no like internal affairs of any sort that would investigate these alleged acts.
So
air quotes.
Right. So you would think that, and I thought about it the entire time because I thought this one detective who was a lieutenant, and he was in charge of the division, the DD, for a long time.
Yeah.
I always thought that he was the IA guy. Like, everyone knew him as the IA guy.
Yep.
Come to find out now, years later, in testimony, he wasn't. The chief, when he came into power in 2005, had abolished the IA division.
Wow.
And he made himself the designee of the IA division. So now, if you're not getting along with the lieutenant or a boss, let's say, and they have it out for you, you go to a call, they Monday morning quarterback it for some reason, he opens the IA case. He puts the number
out of here, dog.
He tells you, all right, you're going to be investigated by this lieutenant who you got beef with, and all of a sudden you found guilty on something. And you can't fight it, because if you fight it, you got to go into the Westchester County Police Act, which is a whole nother different scenario.
Oh, yeah. That's
changed. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's getting going on. I didn't know none of this. Nobody told me none of this. Nobody told me nothing like that. I didn't even know what a Garrity hearing was until I was first put in it. And I was only told after the fact what it was.
Oh, so you went into a Garrity hearing without knowing what a Garrity hearing was?
I didn't even know. I'm sitting there with
that's
my PBA
wow.
president and the lawyer at the time who was, I don't even want to talk about this guy because he's terrible. And I know most jobs use him. He's horrible. He's the worst guy I've ever met in my life.
All right, I'm gonna pause you right here. Just explain to the listeners what a Garrity hearing is.
So a Garrity hearing it's a hearing where you are questioned, and in the questioning, you cannot lie. If you are found to be a liar, they can bring you up on disciplinary charges and including termination. So if they want to keep you and they want to mess with you, they're going to give you whatever discipline they want. But there's always that notion that, oh, you lied, so we're going to fire you.
Yeah, we're going to kick you to the curb, yep.
You know what I'm saying? And out of the history of that department, I went through 4.
You had 4 Garrity hearings?
I went through 4 Garrity.
I never knew that, fam.
Yep.
Wow.
And one of them was even for COVID. I called out for COVID because people was getting COVID in there, and I called out because I thought I had it. Got tested, filed protocol policy of what they had at the time. And we're questioning you about going out sick for COVID, bro.
That is mad, fam. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But yeah, like I said, man, there's crazy things going on there. You know what I'm saying? Like, what happened to me was, they came after me because I was speaking up. You know what I'm saying? I was speaking up at union meetings. I was speaking up about what was going on because I wanted the best for what was going on there. I thought we had a strong union at one point, and, my thing is this. You come after me about whatever, but I got a chief of police whose son stole his gun. They found it in another jurisdiction under his girlfriend's car. And the cover-up is crazy. You don't want nobody to know what happened. I still can't get the investigation to this day. They won't give it to me. I know what his punishment was, you know what I'm saying? Because the town supervisor said it was a harsh punishment. It wasn't. It was 7 vacation days for losing a gun. Losing a gun.
Shit, I know in the city, that's like a 30-day rip.
Exactly. And a demotion at that.
Yeah.
So nothing. You know what I'm saying? People spoke up. People said whatever. This guy is supervisor.
So collectively, like there were people in the department that spoke about that specific incident. Yeah. And the only thing that happened out of that was
just a 7-day vacation rip that nobody knew about.
Also was also the rats as well.
For that. And get that. Now, mind you, their whole response to it was, well, the gun wasn't loaded. The gun was never operational. And there's quotes on that in the paper and everything from another county official who's a lawyer for the Chiefs Association. But mind you, I got the DA's report. It says that shit was ready to go, operational, ready to go. So if the DA had it, why didn't they move in on it? And that's another problem in the county too, because I know officers, and myself included, that have gone to the DA with many, many, many articles of evidence.
Okay.
And nothing has come about it. But on the other stance, and not to put it in a bad way, but on the other stance, you have the DA going after good cops who are trying to make arrests on people.
Yeah.
So it's like, the way I look at it is this, and you get a call, you got to come in, you got to do a report for a complaint. You get a call, you got to go out and do a complaint for somebody else, right? Somebody comes in, makes a complaint on an officer, they got to investigate it. If it's a formal complaint, they got to investigate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why is it that when cops go and make complaints about what's going on inside, it doesn't go anywhere? You get retaliated against. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're talking about I went to every single person I could have, and I got retaliated against. My family got retaliated against.
How so?
So when this was all happening to me, my stepfather is a fireman in Eastchester. He spoke up for me at a board meeting with others.
Okay.
And the next day, unbeknownst to us, the chief of police put in a FOIL request with hearsay on it that was like, he was out violating the sick policy, whatever, right? They returned back the next day and said, no, this doesn't exist. Like, he didn't violate no policy. All right, we didn't know. So again, he goes to another board meeting, like maybe a couple of weeks later, something like that, speaks out again. 3 days later, he's put into a garrison here in the fire department.
God.
Based on the FOIL request. So it gets crazier because now they go after him again and say he violates sick policy, and they caught him on camera violating the sick policy. He was supposed to be home. He was out. They hired to investigate. And you know what the crazier part is about that? They said, we have the evidence. We got you on camera. We're bringing you in. You got to take the charges or you're going to be fired. You could face termination on this. His union calls him up, starts laughing and goes, you better take this, bro. If you don't take this, you're going to get fired. We'll throw a party for you if you do, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yo, that's wild.
I'm like, what's going on here, bro? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now, 2 years later, really dig and dive and see what's going on. We get the pictures. He never took the charges because he wasn't guilty. The pictures were of my mother and sister. The guy was following my mother and sister around and taking pictures of them, calling the first responder that he was a target. So now I went up to a meeting last month and was talking to them, and I caught them red-handed. And the guy, head of the commissioners, oh, we're going to help you. We want to do all this, this and that. I went to a meeting last Thursday. Everyone's dead silent. Don't want to talk, can't talk. You can't let the public know what's going on. I said, you got caught. I said, you legally investigated this guy based on a FOIL request. Who does that? Him saying? And this one guy that's on that board is unprofessional and he should be removed immediately. He likes to hurt first responders. He likes to shut down firehouses, wants to go after them for being sick. He's terrible. He shouldn't be on that board. But now I see who runs that board. It's him, because all he did was talk. And he even admitted that there was a vote to go after him. Well, who put that vote in motion?
Yeah. Who's the one that started to put the wheels in motion for that?
And that's the whole town. But like, it's just crazy. But all the stuff that's happened to me is because I spoke up. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to see my record. I wanted to see what was going on, and rightfully so, because I got forged signatures in my file. You know what I'm saying? I'm speaking up about that stuff. I'm speaking up about why money's being taken from us, why guns are going missing, narcotics are going missing, all this stuff that's being told, locker room talk, which is I'm proven right. You know what I'm saying? And then what happens to me? You know what I'm saying? I feel the new year coming. I felt in my gut. I said, yo, something's coming down the pipe, bro. I don't know. This new lieutenant that, I worked with him many times. I don't have beef with him. I feel like he's coming after me. Like, I just feel it. I feel the change coming.
Yeah.
I go on a call, back up, do what I do. Nothing happens. Call out for COVID. Next day, I didn't know. They open an investigation on me. I get called in. They're like, yo, you got to come in. And this is how they call me up, too. They say, yo, you got to come in just for an interview. We got to talk about this incident that took place. I said, oh, all right. No, Garrity. No. Okay. My PBA calls me up and goes, yo, we got to get you a lawyer. They're Garrity. I said, what? He says, yeah. So I said, what was it about? Like, I wasn't even, could it be about? Or whatever. So I go and sit down. Got the lieutenant.
So you going there with no representation? You going there blind?
No, I went in there with a rep.
Okay, cool.
So I'm sitting there and I know what's going on, and they're asking me wild questions about the delay and what happened. And I'm like, what? And they asked me about probable cause and things like that. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the other lieutenant, because the other lieutenant that's the witness was there when I wrote my report. And he's like, yeah, you had mad probable cause. It was this, and that. He's the big shot. He knows everything. Now you're telling me I didn't have nothing? You're telling me that the whole thing was just blindsided? So whatever. They suspended me that day. They took my weapons from me.
Oh.
Took everything from me. Yeah. And then, my job was like, I wanted them to stand up for me. Union wasn't speaking out, nothing going on. But that's okay, because it was contract negotiations. So Lo and behold, when I find out everything that's starting to go on with me, I know what's going on now. I'm being played. So I go into this hearing. I'm the first one to go into this Westchester County kangaroo court hearing that's done in town. I made it public.
Oh, so they ain't putting nothing out that
Nah, I made it public.
you were suspended?
Nah.
No, you were suspended without pay?
I was with pay.
With pay. Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah, I did it with pay because the guy that they suspended before me in 2012, who was also Hispanic, they didn't pay him, and they violated the right of 30-day non-pay because you're only supposed to be non-paid for 30 days in Westchester County when you enact the act. They violated him for 6 months. He can get paid.
Oh.
Yeah.
Somebody went half the year without getting paid.
Yeah.
Wild.
So, yeah. So, listen, during that time period, I tried to get out. I tried to leave. I tried to see if I can get to a different job. I know people around the county. I figured I can do it.
Yeah.
I'm blacklisted. I couldn't even get to Mount Vernon.
Mount
Vernon was like,
out here, bro.
guys, you ain't going to get paid for probably 2 weeks or a month, but we need guys, you can come down here. Nah, you got the phone call, you can't come.
Yo, Mount Vernon wouldn't even take you. That's wild, bro.
Crazy. I said, damn, man, my reputation must be crazy around the county or something, But anyway, going back.
Crazy. You're a good dude. Like, I know you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're a good guy.
Yeah.
I know you're not a bad person.
Yeah.
Like, and when I say good guy, like a good human being, like you're not out here doing, nefarious shit while you're at work. You feel me?
Exactly.
I know that you're a good dude.
Right. Most people do, man. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that. But yeah, this is what was going on, man. You know what I'm saying? And like, during that whole period, that whole kangaroo court, like I said, I made it public. You got the town paid for 2 lawyers. They paid for a witness to come in, this professor, and they paid for this judge. Now, this hearing judge, his name is Mr. Robert Ponzini. He is the most crooked guy I've ever seen, ever. And anyone who's a cop in Westchester County that had to go up against him has lost.
Oh, so he's undefeated.
Yeah. And it's crazy because like 99, 2000, something like that, he got disbarred for like money fraud and all kinds of things like that.
Sounds fishy to me.
Right. And they used him once before for the chief's weapon, but luckily the chief didn't get fired or anything like that. And he found him guilty, which is crazy. So, we go into this whole hearing and, listen, they're saying what they're saying. They're bringing their evidence, whatever they got. And they're just using whatever in my record, right? My personnel file, which is nothing. It's useless. But the craziest thing, and Jay, because you've been in the game for a long time, you can't lock somebody up or charge them based on opinion, based on what?
It has to be fact. You have to prove it, yep.
Right. So when my attorney for the PBA, a new guy, better guy, was trying to defend me, which he couldn't have said multiple times, he's questioning the lieutenant who brought me up on the charges.
Uh-huh.
And the lieutenant said, I brought him up on these charges for dereliction of duty, right? And for insubordination. He said, I brought him up for insubordination because he lied. Well, what did he lie about? Well, he told the sergeant something. Okay, so we'll get the sergeant. No, we don't need to get the sergeant. Okay, so where was he insubordinate? Well, that was my opinion. So then he talked about derelicting his duty and said that the officer whose arrest it was said, well, he felt like he dumped it on you. Well, he tell anybody that? No, well, that's my opinion too. So he turns around, listens to the judge, he goes, why are we sitting here if we're talking about opinion?
Opinions, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
If nothing's factual, then you don't have the grounds to move forward.
So all they kept doing was bringing up things for the past. Oh, he didn't write tickets, he didn't do this, he was unproductive, and blah, 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 all this crazy stuff. But the facts is what matters, and the facts didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? So I go up, I give my testimony, right? Give my testimony. Judge is sleeping half the time anyway. And we're going back and forth with the attorneys, and then they come to the end, and they're like, this is your report. And I'm like, it's a piece of my report. I said, my report got changed. I said, nah, that's your report, right? So my lawyer looks at it, and he's like, he's like, what's that? And I was like, oh, that's a timestamp. He's like, that wasn't on the original report. And they just got this from across the hall. So they screwed up and put the actual report that had the timestamp in it that shows that people went into that report. I only went into it one time. Other people went into this report. Things were changed.
Changed, yeah. Fuck.
So what do I get brought up on? I get brought up on misconduct, perjury because I lied about my report. But if I'm telling you this is what's going on and you guys ain't looking at it, you know what I'm saying? But once they got caught with that, all the questions stopped. And that was it. And then the judge did his ruling months later and was like, you know, you're no good, you're a liar. We can't rehabilitate liars like you. And, you know, my recommendation is termination. So they told me you can quit and you can drop this whole lawsuit or we're firing her. So I said, you got to fire him because I'm not quitting. I'm innocent. I didn't do what you said I did. And so I got terminated and they made my life hell. I couldn't get unemployment. I tried to get unemployment. They wrote back, oh, he lied. He's this, he's that. I tried to go get my pistol permit a year later. Everything's good, everything like that. Even the county guys didn't even understand what I was being charged for. Judge, nope, misconduct. You can't have your pistol permit. I said to myself, yo, I was a cop for 9.5 years. I never had an issue with my gun whatsoever.
Yeah.
I was trained by the county. Nope. But guys that stole money, guys that lost their guns, guys that do real bad shit, they all got their shit. You know what I'm saying? But now it's all coming out in testimony and, you know, guys are admitting to things and, you know what I'm saying, like the lieutenant that's now the chief of police there, who is the one that charged me, my man's story changed 4 times.
Oh, interesting, huh?
All of a sudden, he doesn't recall working with me. He didn't know me. He don't recall working with me. He doesn't recall ever supervising me maybe 1 or 2 times. Crazy shit, man.
Yo, that's crazy. Yeah.
The crazier part is the old chief and the old lieutenant who's really this was about in the beginning, their testimony was basically telling what they did. And now you got these guys following up, being soldiers, trying to defend them because they're probably telling them I didn't say nothing.
Yeah.
While I'm sitting there and I'm laughing because I'm like, they threw you all under the bus already. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy, bro.
Damn, bro. So like, I was kind of following it, you know, because it was on Channel 12, clearly.
Yeah.
You know, it was but I didn't know like those pieces of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I remember my first time, like I'm like sitting down at the table, and then like I see you on Channel 12. I'm like, oh shit, like, and then I had spoken to you like once or twice about it. You know, obviously you couldn't really speak about it because it was actually going on, and like I didn't know, and I never knew like the particulars of it. You know, it was very like kind of,
and that's what it was.
Face value stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But that's what it was. It took 2 years to really develop what was going on and to get the actual facts that I knew were already facts out there in testimony now, so people could see. Because it's not just about getting the lies out from what they said in Eastchester. It's about protecting other officers in the county. You know what I'm saying? Because I have officers call me all the time. This is what's going on. This is the same thing. Yo, my chief is this, my chief is that. And there's no accountability. Can't go to the DA. They don't want to do nothing about it. Can't do. So what are you supposed to do?
You feel like that's still the case? I feel like the landscape has changed a bit since the whole like police reform and so on.
Yeah. I've tried. I've had people try. Like, let's put it like this. There's another gun that's missing in Eastchester.
Oh God.
And it was an officer's gun, a retired officer's gun. It's missing. They don't know where it's at. From 2015. We went to the DA and said some things and ain't nobody looking at it. Why? Got a gun that's missing. You know what I'm saying? This is what's going on, bro. And it sucks because, like I said, it gives the other officers, like, I don't want to speak up because if I speak up, I get retaliated against.
Yeah, it kind of doesn't give them a voice.
You know?
You almost have to play the game, quote unquote, because, you know, people have livelihoods that they have to support. You got families. You got, you know, maybe they're like, you know, maybe a 1-income household. Right. And, you know, they don't go to work, nobody eats, and they got kids, you know, and that's a stressor that, I know that's something I wouldn't want to have to live with, you know what I'm saying?
The stress is crazy, you know. Like I said, I speak to other officers and, you know, there's another job north that officers were told to resign. And now it's coming out that they had gone to the DA prior and said these things were going on. and that the chief there was just abusing his power. And now they're fighting back. Now the officers that are resigning are like, nah, you told me to resign on falsehoods. Now they're fighting back. And it's like a group, you know what I'm saying? I come together with them. I got another officer that's fighting locally over here. I got another officer that's fighting with the state trooper wise. I got officers all over calling me up being like, yo, man, like, how did you do it? Like, they put me through hell. Like, what, like, you know what I'm saying? And I give them the best way to go about it. And I try because I know what it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like the way I'm talking to you right now, I couldn't talk to them in Eastchester like this because I'd be looked at. Yeah, you know I'm saying, they look at you like, wait, you know, like the lieutenants would tell me all the time, hey, you're from Yonkers, and you know, you're not from here. You know, you have to learn how things work here. It's my town. You gotta work that. You're not a street cop. I work on the street. I talk to people, but I'm not a street cop. You know, I used to get yelled at for wearing my hat backwards. I used to come into the building and they'd be like, "Why is your hat backwards?" And I'm like, "It's like, this is my Yankee fitting, man. What you mean? Why is my hat backwards?"
That's how I wear it.
Right.
Let me ask you a question. Like when all this was going on, like when you were in the mix of it, how was your mental health?
So, you know, I kept it good because I was working out. You know what I'm saying? I was always working out. I was doing jiu-jitsu, boxing. I was working out CrossFit, you know what I'm saying, everything like that. And it was pretty good, you know. And I did my car thing. I was always good with that. But as time went, I didn't know it was stress at the time. I started to notice things. Like, I started to notice that, like, I was getting tired a lot. I started to notice my body was aching a lot. I started to notice that, you know, I wasn't feeling like I wanted to go to work, but every time I go to work, the environment was just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you were getting like the physiological responses from walking into the building.
Right. And like, there were times where like the radio would chirp and like I would choke. And I'm like, what the hell is this? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you don't realize like that's stress and that shit is really coming down on you. And like, they want you to break, you know what I mean? Like, there was a time I came into work and it was actually for a police blue rally that they had at Lake Eye. I came in and I came in earlier for a guy, let him go with his family to go chill. Everything was good. My sergeant was like, yo, I got you north, stay out in the out car, you know what I'm saying? But go inside and do your thing. I want you up there because I know you can handle the calls. I'm the senior guy on the tour.
Yeah.
All right. Female boss comes in, who's related to a lieutenant who grew up in town or all that good stuff, comes in. Nah, I was told he's going south. We don't want him nowhere near that. They put me down south. I don't work for them. They put me down south, far down south. They didn't want me nowhere near that. I guess they were afraid I might talk to somebody up there. So I asked her afterward, what's going on? Oh, you got fucked. Everybody gets fucked. I said, I get fucked every day. I said,
Yeah.
What's going on?
I know what I mean.
I'm saying, Lieutenant's gone now. There's supposed to be a change going on, and this is what's going on here. Like, you know what I mean? So it was like just little things like that just added up to why they wanted to get rid of me, because they didn't want the truth coming out. You know, and that's messed up because in this day and age, it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, it's like unfortunate what you went through. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anybody knew that was like, I don't think anyone knew the specifics.
Right.
You know, and, you know, unfortunately in small towns, things like this, because in small towns, like police themselves, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that will ever change, you know what I'm saying? Because they've been like this since before you and I were even conceived, you know what I'm saying? So like, you know, that rhetoric will continue. But, you know, the only thing we can hope for is advocates like yourself and other people who have experienced this type of maltreatment, you know what I mean, can speak up and be the voice of others, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like, so during that whole, like, I mean, you in the mix of it, did you seek any kind of like professional help or anything like that, as far as like therapy or anything in that nature?
I didn't focus on that, and maybe I should have, but you know what the rhetoric was with that, man. If you ask to go see someone, they take your gun and squad you, all that stuff. So you can't really get into that. You got to just stay strong, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But, you know, listen, I saw multiple doctors about, you know, stress, like, you know, a lot of them, you know, blood work, things like that. And they saw testosterone was low. Cortisol was high.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Your electrolytes and that are going, why? Because stress is taking it from your body. You know what I'm saying? So I just had to figure what balance it was to get back to normal. And, you know, getting fired, I mean, it was the work. I mean, it took a toll on me completely.
Yeah.
But I bounced back from that.
Obviously, you ended up landing on your
Right.
feet.
You know what I'm saying? To do that, because that's another thing that's hard, man. That's a withdrawal. You know, when you retire from the job, it's one thing, like it's a withdrawal, but you can still go back, you can still see people, you still talk to people, everything like that. I don't really talk to nobody from the job.
It's almost like you're outcasted in a sense.
Right. You know what I'm saying? I've had people that I was close with run up on people and be like, yeah, he was no good. He was this, that, the third. It's like, wait a minute. I was like this with you. Like, fuck you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and it's like, you know, to know that and to see that, it's like, do you even want to be back in that environment? Like, you're supposed to be brothers. We're supposed to be brothers in blue. And the thing that pisses me off, Jay, man, is like, you stand up for mad things. Like, you're always out there promoting the blue life. You're promoting brotherhood. You're promoting, you know what I'm saying, staying in shape, all this stuff for anything, for suicidal awareness, for everything, bro. And yo, and I commend you on all that. And it's true, because that needs to happen. The messed up fact is that every time brothers in blue stand up and show the support, it's because one of our brothers or sisters took their life, or something bad happened to them. It's never, you know, you always get that, oh, if they could have talked to somebody. What if they did? You know what I'm saying? What
Valid point.
And it did, and then nobody helped them because you couldn't be on that outcast island with them. You know what I'm saying?
It's a valid point, my brother. And I never looked at it like that, man. Like, you're positioning it in a way that I never like looked at it in that lens.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I never really looked at it like that.
Because let me tell you something, man. It was easy, or it could have been easy for me to get anything I wanted and to take my life. Because what's going on? They're going to beat me. It's over. I'm not a cop no more. I can't. What am I going to do? Like, the people I was fam with for 10 years, I can't talk to no more. That's an everyday thing.
Yeah.
I could have did it, but I had to really break down and say to myself, "You're not a cop. It's over. But you got to advocate." And that's where my mission was now. I feel like it's a mission from God. I feel like this is here. That's why it's not going away. And as the struggle continues and the stress levels go up and everything like that, it's like I can't give up. And I got a lawyer now who's just a fantastic guy who believes in me. And I consider him really a friend in a sense now. And the things that I found out, the things that are going forward is just, you know, and the people I'm helping is what keeps me going on it, really. And that's why I want to talk more about it, because like I said, I just hate seeing, you know, I'm going to walk for suicide awareness for cops. I'm going to, you know, if you need something, call me. You know what I'm saying? There needs to be more, because that pisses me off, because at the end of the day, even the Blue Life Foundation, I reached out to everybody. Ain't nobody helped me. And I always advocate. I'll go talk. I'll talk to the PBA rep. I'll talk to the head of the PBAs. I'll talk to the county. I'll talk to the Blue Line Foundation. I'll talk to everybody who I can help to go through this. If it happens, then nobody wants to hit me back.
Well, maybe that's something we can look into, man. I'm gonna try to put some boots to the ground and see if you know, we can get something done in that light, because I'm very big on like just helping human beings, and I feel like that's part of my gift as a human being. Like, it's one of the gifts that God gave me, is just being able to help others, man. And you know, this is, you know, the end of our podcast, but I just want to, you know, thank you for your resilience, bro. Like, you know, I'm glad that you went through all of that and you came out on top. You came out better. You know what I'm saying? When I say on top, you came out better because it didn't break you. It didn't put you in a space where you wanted to harm yourself or others. Yeah. You know, you found a way to like find who you are, right, and figure out that, you know, you in fact want to help others who've experienced the same kind of stress. I know this was a long time coming, man, and I'm sorry this shit took this long.
No,
I had to get the shit right, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's all good.
You know, like I said, you're a good friend of mine, and I wanted to make sure that everything was done in the right manner, man.
Yeah. Listen, time is everything. I feel like at the right moment, it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
that's the way it was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I appreciate you coming out today. Is there anybody you want to shout out? Any, you know, anything you want to like plug? You can plug.
Yeah, I want I want to shout out my boy Westchester Shooters Inc. Flip my hat around, forgive my hair, but it's my boy. He's from Yonkers native. You know, he helps out everybody trying to get their Second Amendment right, makes them aware of the rights that they have, and to safely safeguard themselves and secure themselves and their family. And he's helped out many people, and it's, like I said, it's local. I'm an NRA instructor myself.
Oh shit.
Working
Okay.
more with him. But this is his thing. And you know, if anyone wants to get in contact or, you know, hit you up, hit me up, or whatever like that, we can help them out. And, you know,
All right.
also a good stress reliever too.
Okay, cool. We'll see if we can throw the link in the bio.
Yeah.
And once again, man, I just want to thank you for coming and having this conversation, sharing some light on you know, the issues.
Yeah,
with
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you guys for tuning in to Behind the Mic. We'll see you next episode.